Well, greetings, amazing students, and welcome back to the spring 2021 semester. My name is Dr. Antonio Mexico, and I'm honored to serve as your instructor for this semester. If you're returning or a returning student to my class, or you're having me as an instructor for the first time, I just want to say welcome. I am so excited, right? Each week, I'll be releasing short videos with a brief reflection on scripture. So these are just there to provide you with an opportunity to examine a small piece of scripture and reflect on its relevance in everyday life. They're not mandatory. You don't have to do them. I do these as a support for you all to reflect on some scripture. That's it. And they're going to be short, typically no longer than 4 minutes. Okay. I want to start the semester by just saying thank you, right? On behalf of CBU and the College of Behavioral Sciences, I'm excited to see many of you returning this spring. I know that fall semester was unlike anything we have experienced. I know that it can feel disappointing not to be in person right now, but know that I am excited, right, to spend time with you each week. And I personally look forward to our synchronous time together, okay? For our distance learning folks, know you always can reach me when you need to. I'm right there with you too, okay? All right, now, our scripture for the start of the semester from Mark chapter 4, verse 35 to 41 is titled, The Wind Ran Out of Breath. And this translation comes from the Message. And so let me read this scripture for you really quick. Late that day, he said to them, let's go across to the other side. They took him in the boat as he was. Other boats came along, and a huge storm came up. Waves poured into the boat, threatening it to sink, and Jesus was in the stern, head on a pillow, sleeping. They roused him, saying, Teacher, is it nothing to you that we're going down? Awake now, he told the wind to pipe down, and he said to the sea, Quiet, settle down. The wind ran out of breath. The sea became smooth as glass. Jesus reprimanded the disciples. Why are you such cowards? Don't you have any faith at all? They were in absolute awe, staggered. Who is this anyway? They asked. Wind and sea at his beck and call. Folks, I chose this scripture verse because I wanted to, for a moment, acknowledge, right, that life has felt stormy for all of us, especially over the last year. The pandemic, social unrest, tumultuous election, and shift to remote learning has created many storms for all of us. And as we examine this scripture, we see that the disciples' boat was initially calm, right? They were moving along, doing their thing, and suddenly the storm appeared out of nowhere. The storm was so big, so loud, so violent that waves threatened to sink the boat. My father served in the Navy during Vietnam, and he served at sea during the war. He had shared accounts with me when I was a boy of these massive storms that rocked the ship. In these tremendous storms at sea, the bow of the ship would be tossed so high in the air, right, by the waves that he could only see the night and the stars above him. When the ship came crashing back down into the ocean, the entire ship rocked and heaved, and you could only see the ocean below you. He stated it was as if the ocean was just going to swallow this giant ship. He stated that the storms were so scary, sailors around him began to pray in that moment out of fear. I imagine life is a lot like this at times for us, right? We have faced tremendous storms over the past year. Some of you have faced storms related to COVID, storms where you and your loved ones were ill. Some of you lost family and friends to the COVID storm. I know I certainly have as well. Some of you face storms of financial uncertainty as the economy reeled, as we lost jobs, as family and friends lost work. Others face storms of the challenges of distance learning, and others face storms of uncertainty and fear for our country. Whatever it was, you know what it feels like for your boat to be rocked suddenly. You know what it feels like to feel consumed by the storm and afraid of your boat sinking. And it is in these times that I ask us to call upon Jesus, right? In Mark, we learned that not only was Jesus close, in fact, he was in the same storm as the disciples, only something was different about Jesus. Jesus was asleep. He did not feel the storm that was rocking the boat. He didn't hear the waves that howled, nor worry if the ship would sink. In that moment of fear and overwhelm for the disciples, they remembered that Jesus was with them and cried out, doesn't this storm mean anything to you? You know, personally, I imagine over the last year, we've done the same, right? Jesus, does my anxiety mean anything to you? Jesus, does my confusion over distance learning mean anything to you? Jesus, does my health, right, or the health of my family and friends mean anything to you? Jesus, does our love for one another and this hate, right, that seems to dominate our society right now mean anything to you? And something happened, as we see in scripture, right? Jesus awoke and immediately commanded the sea to calm. Quiet, settle down, he said, right? And what happened? In this translation, we hear the wind ran out of breath. Wow, right? Like suddenly the disciples' storm just ended. The water became smooth as glass. Their fear died down. Their worries were gone. Jesus took the breath right out of the disciples' storm, right? And right after that, like a friend who always tells us the truth, even when we don't want to hear it, Jesus is right there saying, "You cowards, do you not have any faith at all?" Right? I know the last year has been difficult, and at times we can only seem to see the sky or the sea as we're tossed in our little boats. But I'd like to remind you that Christ is nearby. He does not hear the storm the same way we do. He does not fear the waves. Jesus has the power to take the breath from our windy storms and restore peace in our hearts. All he asks is that we have faith enough, right, to call out to him. Jesus knows how scary our storms feel, but he also has the wisdom to know that the storm's going to end at some point and you will be safe by his side. As you continue this semester, please find time to connect with Jesus when you feel you're in the middle of a storm, okay? So, folks, I am honored, right, to have you in class this semester. I look forward to our time together. I look forward to seeing and meeting you all. God bless, right? Take care, and I will see you soon. Thank you so much.